Hello and welcome back to the Sheva Secrets Na or Nach series. Today we will learn rule number 2. How do we read a Sheva when it is under a letter that has a Dagesh in it? Let's dive in. Before we learn this rule, we first have to learn what is a Dagesh. A dagesh is a dot in the middle of a letter that is telling you to give it some extra emphasis. So for example, on the screen you see the letter Lamed. And in the Lamed there is a dot. And underneath this Lamed there is our vowel, the Sheva. That dot is called a dagesh. And when you have a letter that has a dagesh within it, that's telling you to give extra emphasis to that letter, if that letter has a Sheva, it's telling you something important about how to read that Sheva. And that leads us to rule number 2. Rule number 2, if a letter has a Dagesh and has a Sheva under it, that Sheva is pronounced as a Sheva Na. We pronounce it as Eh. So for example, this is a word in the Shema Yisrael. You see how there's 4 letters. There's a Sheva under the first letter of the word, and there's a Sheva under the third letter of the word. That third letter, that Vav, actually has a Dagesh within it. So we pronounce it as a Shevana. So this word here has 2 Shevanas. It's read as Me, Tza, Ve, Cha. 4 letters, 4 syllables. Me, Tza, Ve, Cha. The first Sheva under the Mem is a Sheva Na because it's number 1. It's a Sheva Berosh Milah, Sheva under the first letter of the word. The Sheva under the third letter of the word, the Vav, Mitza Vecha, that's this rule number 2 that we're learning. There is a Dagesh, there is a dot in that Vav. Therefore, it has to be extra emphasized extra, and the Sheva underneath it becomes a Sheva Na. Let's look at some examples here. And I tried to gather examples from the Tefillah and from Tanakh. Our first example, number 1, is Gadelu. Gadelu, not Gadlu. If we were to read this as Gadlu, as 2 syllables, and make that Dalid a Sheva Nach, Gadlu. But you see there is a Dagesh in that Dalid. Therefore, because of this rule, it's Gadelu. Gadelu. Example number 2, Kulechem. Kulechem. Why do we read that Lamed, the Sheva under the Lamed as a Sheva Na? Because there's a Dagesh there. Kulechem. And third example is a word actually from Megillat Esther, Kiyemu veKibelu. That word, veKibelu. It is a Sheva Na underneath the bet. Also, that first Vav, the first letter of the word is a Sheva Na because of rule number 1. The third letter of the word is a bet that has a Dagesh in it, and there's a Sheva under it, and therefore it is read as veKibelu. Not veKiblu, but veKibelu. So, I would like you to pause the video here and try these 2 words on your own. Take a moment, pause it, and try to read these, keeping in mind that we have learned 2 rules about Sheva so far. Hopefully you had a chance to pause. Word number 1. Actually, there are 2 Shevas. Under the first letter of the word, we know because of rule number 1, is Ve. And under the Mem has a Dagesh. Therefore, the word is Ve'amecha. 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 Both of those Shevas are Sheva Na. Word number 2, you have a Sheva in the middle of the word. That Zayin has a Dagesh. Therefore, it is Yizelu. Yizelu. And so coming to our rule bank, we have just added a second rule to our rule bank. That when there's a Dagesh in a letter with a Sheva underneath it, it is pronounced as a Sheva Na. So far, we have learned 2 rules of identifying for us when you have a Sheva Na. If a Sheva is at the beginning of a word, meaning under the first letter, or if it is under a letter that has a Dagesh within it, it is pronounced as a Sheva Na. In the next video, we are going to learn about the next rule, rule number 3. Rule number 3 is when you have 2 Shevas in a row. This means there are 2 consecutive letters in a word, and both of them have a Sheva under that letter. We are going to learn how to read each of those 2 Shevas. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section below. See you next time.